Okay, so the goal when reviewing this album is to not be tempted to play air guitar. Heart Songs is a collaborative guitar album released by Emmanuel and John Knowles. I'm really happy to be getting around to an album like this. There is probably some debate whether you could call this just simply acoustic music or jazz music. To me, it's jazz, but I see the acoustic element to it. But man, the craftsmanship in this album is remarkable and what's that word I'm looking for? Unrivaled. That's what I'm looking for. Both these guitarists have known each other for quite some time, and in their age, if you look it up, they're slightly older, but in their age, they have finally been able to come together and make an album, which is a lot of covers, but well made in ways that would just be so awe-inspiring and soothing to the ears and to a number of occasions and atmospheres and settings that you could put yourself into. One thing I thought was a little odd, and maybe this happens in other albums also, I'm not entirely sure, with specifically this kind of recording, but throughout many of the songs that I listened to the very first time around, I remember hearing a lot of breathing. Keep in mind, these are basically two guitars that are playing the entire time. And on multiple occasions, I remember hearing a lot of breathing. And it's not like that needs to be docked points for the album. It's just something I noticed. When I listened to it the second time around, I could barely notice because I was trying to focus on the actual craft of the music and the arrangement and how the two guitarists that are legends in their own right just helmed it so well. What I'm going to try to do is first recommend the songs that I enjoyed most. The first one being How Deep Is Your Love? Another one I would really recommend is I Can Let Go Now. This one kind of has more of a Midwest vibe to it, or a family outdoor setting of some kind. Those two actually could go really well together. You could put both of those scenarios together. It just felt purely simple and yet crafted majestically, masterfully. Yeah. And the third I'd like to highlight is Walkin' My Baby Back Home. I wrote down in my notes saying that this sounded like mid-90s PBS children's television show vibe. But in reality, this kind of music does work for that all setting, you know? There isn't really any lyricism to it. This is purely instrumental. It's supposed to be the best of the best that guitarists can understand. Musicians in general can take so much from this album. If you and another musician are going to make an album, not just a song, an album together using two of the same instruments. It's a little easier with guitar, but bear with me. They just put in the time. They put in their homework. They listened. They practiced and practiced and practiced. And they knew that they had to get this right. I can see from the casual listener that maybe I am overthinking this, or maybe trying to amp it up a little bit more than it might come out to be for other listeners out there. But that is exactly what I'm trying to get at, is that this is something that was just done not just well, but excellently. This isn't something that you're just going to throw in a restaurant or on the elevator. This is something that you are going to pay attention to, and you are going to feel bliss internally. At least that's what you are definitely going to take away if you respect music. Not just a particular genre, but the craftsmanship of musicianship and just the spirit of making good music. Wow, I feel so reverent right now. So after having listened and reviewed this album, with production of 100%, creativity 98%, expression and lyrics 100%, this album is going to get a yes. After having graded that, I know that there are other albums that will come out this year that maybe I know I'm going to have a little bit more passion toward if they drive me to want to recommend them that highly. So I know it might come off differently. But in this regard, I have to give it this because I get it. I get it. This is just, it's a piece of art. It's not just purely something entertaining for a listener. It is something for the craft. It is something for the crafter. And in this case, two who have worked years, decades even, plural, decades, on this instrument, in this realm of music. Just, yeah, has to be this way. Just got to do it. Take a listen for yourself. I would recommend checking this album out. If you get to that point where you can not just enjoy this album, but respect it as much as I think I really do feel, consider buying this album also, because it would be good to have music like this to just get away from some of the mainstream stuff that we have. Again, I'm not anti-mainstream. I'm not pro-underground. I'm simply an advocate for good music. That's all it is. This is something that strikes a chord with me, and I get it, and that's why I have to recommend it like this. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and remember, if you want to discover, promote, and review the best in entertainment, remember to subscribe and follow everything for this channel so you can get that yes in your life. See you next time.